Zero tolerance policies were implemented into schools in the early 80s in order to integrate the criminal justice system into school discipline. Zero tolerance policies were implemented by the federal government in response to growing assumptions that schools were becoming increasingly violent. Zero tolerance policies seek to create safer, more effective learning environments by removing disruptive students and instituting punitive actions such as suspension or expulsion for all student violations of violence, drugs, weapons on campus, and disruptive behavior. Zero tolerance also punishes for things like dress code violations, talking back, and horseplay. Proponents of the policy intend for the strategy to reduce school violence and behavioral disruptions. So, who is affected by zero tolerance policies? In 2016, 50.7 million students attended public schools in the US. Of this number, 3.5 million students received in-school suspensions, and 3.45 million students received out-of-school suspensions. Another 130,000 students were expelled from school. These statistics are comparable in Texas, but a notable fact is the 2,491 students who were expelled to the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. So what does this mean for students? Being expelled or suspended makes students more vulnerable to chronic absenteeism, poor academic performance, grade retention, and high school dropout. It also means that students are more likely to have contact with the criminal justice system. When schools use zero tolerance policies, all students are susceptible to the effects of the guidelines. However, zero tolerance policies disproportionately affect minority populations. Under zero tolerance policies, African American students are 3.5 times more likely to be suspended or expelled. African American males are 3 times more likely to receive discretionary discipline for the same offenses as a white student. Proponents of the zero tolerance policy believe that the policy makes schools safer. But using the trauma-informed social policy framework, we must ask, is everyone safe or just a privileged few? Proponents also believe that zero tolerance makes discipline consistent, but using the same framework, we must ask, does the policy consider the varying needs of students? Operating under the one-size-fits-all policies of zero tolerance has an enormous potential to compromise student health and mental health, and even re-traumatize students. Students who live in marginalized or oppressed populations are 4 times more likely to experience factors which cause trauma. Many studies have shown that zero tolerance policies do not improve student behavior or academic outcomes. How can we improve the zero tolerance policy in schools? The use of restorative justice institutes all of the principles of the trauma-informed social policy framework. Restorative justice seeks to be an alternative to punitive consequences, which attempts to prevent and restore rather than punish. It provides equitable consequences, empowers students, promotes accountability and community, increases academic success, promotes safety for all, and is transparent. The goal is to heal, not harm. A critical change to zero tolerance policy rules is redefining the rules. To avoid discipline that lacks common sense, zero tolerance needs to ask questions like, does the student have a record of punishable behavior? What constitutes a fight? Does the student understand the offense? Was the situation avoidable? Were other students affected? Was there malice intent? What is a weapon? And should students get a second chance?